On today's video, we're back in Madeira, exploring the seascapes and cloud forest. Okay, so we've spent all day scouting on the north side of the island, and it's absolutely unreal here. And if you hear this humming sound, I'm sorry, but there's a water treatment plant over there. Other than the water treatment plant humming, it is unreal here. It has like mountains that kind of remind you of the Machu Picchu area. It's that crazy. And the coastline is just beautiful, but we haven't gone out to take photos yet. We've just been exploring and location scouting, and one of the places we location scouted was these sea stacks really close to the beach just around this bend up here. So that's where we're spending sunset. Okay, so this is awesome. Really awesome. It's just rained, and as a result, there's kind of like this haziness in the sky and a lot of color in the clouds. We're still like 20 minutes until sunset, and I don't think there's going to be much of a sunset because of the haze on the horizon, but we're getting this beautiful soft light and the tide's going out. So I'm not going to vlog this because I don't want to take my vlogging camera in and get wet. But what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to run out into the waves and get my camera as low as I can to some of these rocks and mess around with like about a half second to a full second exposure. And I'll be using a 3-stop ND, and I probably don't need a grad filter actually because of the lights at the side. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see the waves rolling up. Probably get some wet feet doing this, but I think it'll be worth it. A lot of this video is going to be talking about how humbling photography can be, even for pros like me. I feel so comfortable on the sea doing seascapes, but even in these beautiful conditions, it's so hard to create something inspiring, even when you're willing to get your feet wet. I think every seascape photographer in the world will tell you that if your feet aren't soaking wet and you're not tasting salt water at the end of a photo session at the sea, you're not trying hard enough. I definitely got a mouthful of water and my feet are soaked. But it was so much fun, despite the fact that we didn't get any light, because it's such a cool location, and it's really nice that when you do get hit by waves here, the water's nice and warm actually. Unlike the Arctic where I'm usually getting hit by waves up to my knees. Yeah, so this has been fun, and I think in the morning we're gonna head to the Fennel Forest, which is supposed to be amazing. So let's flip over to the morning. So the crazy thing about Madeira is the microclimates. Down on the beach yesterday it was 27 degrees, mostly sunny, and then we've climbed up in altitude and it's just started raining actually, and we're in the fog at the Fennel Forest. It looks like it's epic here. It should be epic, but this rain is kind of just blowing in and out, and yeah, it might be a bit of a struggle. It's currently 5 minutes until sunrise, and it looks like this. So yeah, I think we'll just wait out these little bits of rain, do some exploring, try not to get too wet, and try to make a photo. Woo! And I'm gonna go hide for now. Basically, as I was filming this bit, the weather hit us. It rained hard for about 20 minutes, but eventually it let off enough for us to act brave and go out and take some photos. Woo! Okay, so it is absolutely magic in here, absolutely epic. We're getting battered a little bit with wind and rain, and but yeah, in the bits in between that, it is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, look at this, it's just unreal. I've actually been running around without a tripod, which is something I normally don't do, but I was feeling pretty restricted in my movements and compositions when I was setting up a tripod, so I've just gone totally freehanding it, and I'm at like ISO 800 and about f5.6 for most of my photos. I want the images to be sharp, hence ISO 800, but I don't need them to be crazy sharp because I kind of want to accentuate the dreamy feel, so hence f5.8 and even lower f4 sometimes. From a compositional standpoint in here, I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything. I'm trying to find frames for the trees, I'm trying to simplify things and just have open foggy images with one tree. I'm trying to find pairs. I'm even just taking pictures into messy bits of trees, like over this way, and hoping that the mess in the fog looks really cool. So a little bit of everything going on with the compositions, and hopefully some of the images come out cool. Hopefully it shows how cool this place is, because honestly, it is just unreal. This is another example about how photography is humbling. I spent over an hour taking photos and loving everything I did. Then back at the laptop in the editing room, they didn't have that same special feeling that being in the forest had. I'll share some of them with you anyways. Another photographer pointed out this frame of the trees. I like it, but it's a bit cliche. Then I thought this mess of forest looked cool, but I think it's lacking. I moved on to some minimalism, but something's missing here too. I can't put my finger on it. Then I wanted to juxtapose this large tree with the smaller one. It's alright. Finally though, I have a photo I love. If I was the type of person to name my photos, this would be called Family. I love how all the trees are both intertwined and pulling away. The rain has really started to calm down again, and so I think we might leave and come back tomorrow morning. This has been so awesome, but also so overwhelming. We're getting rained on! Wow! With the heavy rain, we decided to push back to the sun of the north coast. So we're back at the sea. We've come to Puerto Mores, I think? Puerto Mores? Maybe. Anyway, there's all these natural swimming pools here that are pretty awesome. I think though, it's private down there, sadly, because there's natural swimming pools, all these rocks, and we're just location scouting, trying to find, I mean, that's the whole point of this trip, is we're just location scouting, trying to find cool photos for the future, and hopefully also getting some cool photos now. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're looking around here at Puerto Mores for some photos. It's a beautiful place, and maybe we should have paid to stay at this hotel because it's epic down there. Okay, so normally you have to pay to come in here until 7, and then at 7 p.m. apparently it's just open. So if you don't mind swimming between 7 and 9 p.m. you can swim for free, which is kind of awesome. I don't know if it's open all night, but it seemed like it was, like they just opened the gate at night. So I think this is now our photo location, not the swimming pools themselves, but there's all sorts of really cool rocks getting hit by some really cool swell just on the outside of the pool. So a little bit more seascape photography now. So we kind of just missed high tide, and I think high tide was where it was at, but it's still okay. I have a composition that's not great anymore because it was better at high tide, but it's still okay now. And I think what I'm trying to do is just wait for the sun to come down in between this gap of clouds. It's actually really cloudy tonight, and it's mostly low mid-level cloud stuff, but there is one gap off this direction. It's probably going to happen about an hour, 45 minutes before sunset, and I think that's probably going to be my best light. So I'm waiting for that to happen, and basically what I have here is just this white water in the bottom left of my frame. I've got a rock in the middle of my frame, off to the left I guess a little bit, and then another rock on the right where some water is occasionally jumping over. And I'm waiting for that water to jump over and hoping to get kind of a bit of a waterfall effect. This might be my moment here. Yeah, not as much as I was hoping for, but okay. And like I usually do, I'm just on like a half second, quarter seconds, and holding the continuous shutter down as these moments are happening, hoping that the camera captures the perfect moment. Here comes another wave. Not enough energy. Maybe this one? Maybe this one if it doesn't die out. Here we go. Yeah. There we go. That's what we wanted. I'm still holding the shutter down because I don't know where the best moment's gonna end up here. And yeah, hopefully one of those comes out cool, but I still want that to happen with a little bit better sky. So I'm gonna wait this out and then maybe try some other compositions in a bit.
Eventually it did happen, and the result is pretty impressive.
I'm sitting up on a very uncomfortable spot here above the coast. It's pretty much the best spot I could find just because it was the only place clean enough to get a foreground. It's a rule I kind of follow. If you're comfortable taking a photo, you're probably not in the best place you could be taking that photo. That being said, this isn't perfect. This has actually been a much more difficult photo location than I expected. There's all this awesome foreground, but building a composition has definitely been tricky.
The sea can be humbling too, but I feel more at home here, and like I can create images out of very little. I'm happy with the results.
Back at the fennel forest this morning, and there's not as much fog, but there's also no rain. Yesterday my gear got soaked up here. I also was stressed out yesterday. Not stressed, I was overwhelmed yesterday, and I just wanted photos of absolutely everything. So I took like 100 images just running around photographing everything, reviewed all the images last night, and have kind of come up with some ideas that I want to maybe get better, I guess is the best way, or get sharper, or just dial in a little bit better, if you will. So I don't even have my camera bag on my back. I literally just have my 24 to 70 on the tripod, and I'm gonna wander around trying to perfect some of the images from yesterday. So much easier conditions to photograph in today. Still have that fog, and hopefully can make some photos.
There was one image here I really wanted to reshoot, but unfortunately, by the time I found the spot again, the fog had lifted and left me with this. I guess one more reason to come back.
So basically, as soon as we got in here this morning, there was fog, and then 5 minutes later it lifted. And so even though the conditions yesterday were pretty tough because of the rain and the wind, just getting drenched, it was definitely better for photography yesterday than today. It's amazing what the fog can do. This place yesterday was full of isolated trees and moody compositions, and this morning with no fog, everything's busy. You can't isolate trees, you can't find that same ease in the composition, and obviously there's not that same atmosphere. So I wouldn't call this a strikeout, because now you can wander around without being demolished by rain, but from a photography standpoint, definitely not as good as it was yesterday in the fog. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this note. Madeira is awesome. It's mind-blowing how many different climates and photo opportunities there are within such a small island, and I am absolutely loving it. And I think there'll be one more video from here. I'll see you there. Peace.